Hello everyone, Storm here, and welcome back to my top 5 weapon series for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Today we're going to cover the bow. The bow is a weapon with a legacy as a mid-range weapon that's not truly melee, but also not ranged the same way that a bowgun might be. It brings the mobility of light weapons, with the spacing and consistency advantages of bowguns. To get the most out of it, you need to carefully dance in and out of a monster's attack ranges, which makes the bow both extremely satisfying and just plain fun to use. Starting us off at number 5 is the Idolastra, the Frostfang Barioth bow. With 324 raw damage and 15% affinity, it's a good hard hitter against all monsters, but 420 ice element makes this a real killer against monsters that are ice weak. For coatings, which are an important part of a bow's viability, it has the all-important power coating, as well as Paralysis and Blast. So with the Paralysis coating, you'll almost always be able to get one para off in a hunt. Blast is always nice to proc once or twice, and then power coating is very important for bows as a way to enhance your DPS further during the hunt. Number 4 is the Lightbreak bow, or the Raging Brachydios bow, which is one of the lowest ratings a Raging Brachy weapon has gotten, and part of that is going to be because of the lack of coating options. 360 raw damage is extremely top class, neutral affinity, and then 210 blast element, which comes through quite a bit in the hunt. Level 4 and a level 3 slot, which is very useful for getting on certain skills like coating enhancements or spread shots or power shots. And then it just has the power and blast plus coating. So the blast coating is extremely enhanced and you'll get a lot of blast procs off while you're using it. And it can at least use power, but you don't get any of the flexibility of doing the statuses that other bows might have. Still, the raw damage on this thing is extremely high, and if you can do 1 or 2 Raging Brachydios hunts, you're very likely to be able to craft it, especially now that Celestial Wyverian prints work to get immortal reactors. Number 3 is the USJ Event bow, the Azure Era Soaring Dragon Plus. 324 raw, which is kind of the minimum for a top tier bow. 30% affinity, which is very, very high and makes getting 100% affinity using weakness exploit and critical eye extremely easy. And then 330 water element, which is pretty high for any weapon, but especially for the bow. And there are a surprising number of things that are weak or at least not resistant to water element. Then it has 2 level 4 slots, which is pretty much the best the bow can get. And for coatings, you get power, poison, and sleep. Power is of course paramount. If a bow doesn't have power coating, I typically don't consider it to be the best of the best. Poison is always nice to get through, and then sleep makes it a pretty good supporter, giving you a chance to recraft coatings, place some barrel bombs, and go to town. Number 2 is the Alatrion Commandment, the Alatrion bow. 336 raw, which is above the late game average for bows, neutral affinity, and an incredible 600 dragon element. This bow is what you want if you're trying to burn down anything that's even remotely weak to dragon element at all. 2 level 2 slots to help round out the build with a lot of extra flexibility, and then the coatings on this thing, it can run almost every coating you could want. You have power, paralysis, sleep, and blast. Para and sleep are 2 of the most important statuses because they allow you to get free openings of opportunity for powerful attacks or for teammates. And then blast is just my favorite. You essentially have every coating on this bow. It's great. And here we are, number 1 bow, the Bow of Vice and Violence, the Black Fatalis bow. 444 raw, which is over 100 points higher than anything else on this list except the Lightbreak bow. Negative 30% affinity, which at this point is the Fatalis special, although in this case, as with many of the Fatalis weapons, the huge raw damage is more than enough to make up for it. 120 dragon element as window dressing, and 2 level 4 slots for the maximum available customization. Where things get really exciting is in the coating section, where you can see power coating to further enhance that massive raw, as well as an enhanced paralysis and an enhanced poison coating, as well as a sleep coating. So you can paralyze once or twice in a hunt, poison probably 2 or 3 times in a hunt depending on thresholds, and get a sleep off. With the amount of damage this thing puts out, it did not need coatings this good, but Capcom gave it to us, and so we will take it. And as usual, we have to do our honorable mentions. In this case, because all 5 of the top 5 weapons are event quest weapons, I decided to make both honorable mentions be main game craftables. So the first honorable mention here is the Felbow Crimson Storm, which is the Viper Tobi Kadachi bow. 300 raw, which is pretty good, although it does benefit from non-elemental boost for a little enhancement, as well as a positive 15% affinity and a level 1 slot, which is pretty nice. This bow is an excellent option that's very easy to craft in the early parts of Iceborne. Unfortunately, it does not have access to power coating, but that's somewhat made up for by the ability to have enhanced paralysis and enhanced poison coatings to status up the monsters that you're fighting. It's low rarity and easy to craft, and I do like non-elemental boost, even if in this case it only just barely makes up for the lack of power coating. For the second honorable mention, we have the Black Penula, which is the Namiel bow. It's a little bit tougher to craft, although you can make it in mid-master rank. 324 raw, 10% positive affinity, and a very good 270 water damage round out this package. It has a level 1 slot for some flexibility, and has power coating and paralysis coating. You're definitely going to upgrade this before you get too far into the late game of Iceborne, but this is a great bridge between the Viper Tobi Kadachi bows and the true late game. So that's it for my top 5 bows for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Let me know in the comments if you think they should bring back that mechanic where you picked your bow based on which charge level had which shot type. And also let me know what your favorite bow is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.